Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. It's all about Micky to Life the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And they did that hilarious bit where they're pretending to be one of their own, anti-fan.
Yeah.
They mentioned Kevin Tsai. He's pretty famous over there.
I've heard of him. What do you do?
He had a book giveaway on his podcast, and he really wanted to win.
Yeah,
He didn't. And jokingly said he was going to become his anti-fan.
That's great. It shows how anti-fan can be like a lighthearted thing sometimes.
Totally. But it also makes you think, what actually makes someone an anti-fan?
Yeah.
It got me thinking about this whole anti-fan thing. Like, what is that all about?
It's a really interesting part of fan culture. And it comes up a lot, especially when you look at like K-pop and K-dramas.
Right.
Like the term anti-fan itself, that comes from Korean pop culture.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like when someone doesn't just dislike a celebrity, but they're like actively trying to bring them down.
Yeah. Have you seen that Korean drama Celebrity?
I haven't, actually.
Okay, well, there's this character, famous, right?
Okay.
And at first they seem like just a really supportive fan, but then things get creepy.
Oh, no.
Like full-on stalking, controlling behavior, demanding a private account just for them.
Oh, that's scary.
Super creepy. And it really shows how that line between admiration and obsession totally blurred. And this show even digs into, why someone might become like that.
Okay.
There's this one quote that stuck with me. It says, "Some people have everything from the moment they're born. You flaunting those things makes everyone else feel like they're living in a sewer."
Wow, that's heavy.
It is,
Yeah.
right? Like, it makes you think about envy and resentment and how those things can fuel this behavior.
Definitely makes you wonder about those bigger societal factors, too.
Like income inequality, the pressure to achieve a certain status.
Exactly like feeling left behind while others seem to have it all.
And sometimes it goes way beyond just online comments.
Oh, absolutely. Like, remember that horrible incident with that K-pop group, TVXQ?
Oh my gosh. Where that anti-fan, poisoned one of the singers.
Yeah, it's awful. It shows how this stuff can get really dangerous.
Seriously. It's scary how things can escalate. Like, when does being critical cross the line into being an actual anti-fan?
Right. It's a blurry line for sure.
Totally.
Right?
Even when we joke about it, it's like it's going to turn black and become anti-fan.
Oh, yeah, if that book didn't show up.
Exactly. It was funny, but it does make you think about how easy it is to blur those lines, especially online.
Totally. Like online, you never really know someone's true intentions.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes it's hard to tell if someone's being sarcastic or genuinely mean.
It's all about context, I guess, and trying to be aware of how your words might be perceived.
Okay, but I do think it's important to remember that not all criticism comes from a place of hate.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Sometimes people have legitimate reasons for being disappointed in someone they used to admire.
Right, like maybe their actions don't match their words anymore, or they do something that goes against their values, or maybe their work just isn't as good as it used to be.
Totally. It's like the higher you build someone up, the harder they fall.
Yeah, and sometimes that disappointment can turn into anger or negativity.
Yeah, for sure. And the internet just amplifies all of that.
Totally. It's like an echo chamber where negativity can just spiral out of control.
Right. So it's important to be critical of what you see online and not just blindly follow the crowd.
Absolutely. You have to form your own opinions.
Okay, so we've talked about how disillusionment can lead to negativity. But what about those people who just seem to thrive on hate?
Oh, yeah. The ones who are like always looking for a fight.
Yeah. What's their deal?
It's tough to say for sure, but there are a few theories.
Okay, lay it on me.
Well, some people might just crave attention, even if it's negative attention.
So they're like those kids who act out in class to get the teacher to notice them.
Kinda, yeah. They want to stand out from the crowd, even if it means being the villain.
I guess that makes sense in a weird way.
And online, it's so easy to get that attention. Like just by leaving a nasty comment, you can get a ton of replies.
True. And it can become like a vicious cycle, right?
Yeah. The more attention they get, the more they do it.
It's like a digital addiction almost.
Right. And it can be really damaging both for the person they're targeting and for the online community as a whole.
So what can we do about it? Like, how do we stop the spread of negativity online?
Well, it starts with being more mindful of our own online behavior.
Okay.
Like before you post something, think about how it might make someone else feel. And if you see someone being harassed or bullied online, speak up and report it.
Yeah. We all have a responsibility to create a more positive and supportive online environment.
Totally. It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of feeding the trolls, we should focus on amplifying the voices of people who are using their platform for good.
Like Micky to Life.
Exactly. They're a great example of how to create content that is both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Yeah, and they always manage to stay positive, even when they're talking about difficult topics.
Right. They're like a ray of sunshine in a sometimes very dark online world.
Totally. It's a good reminder that even in the midst of all the negativity, there are still people out there who are trying to make a difference.
That's a good note to end on for now.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day.
Totally. But we'll be back soon to dive even deeper into this topic.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
It's interesting, though, like, for content creators, dealing with negativity can be really tough.
Oh, tell me about it. Like, when that one person commented that they'd rather watch paint dry than listen to our podcast.
Oof. Stung a little.
It did. But it's like, how do you even respond to something like that?
Right. It's like, you want to be open to feedback, but some comments are just straight up mean.
Exactly. It's like finding that balance between having a thick skin and still being open to constructive criticism.
Yeah. And it's hard because you never want to discourage people from sharing their thoughts.
Right. But at the same time, you don't want to let the haters get you down.
Totally. It's like you got to learn to filter out the noise and focus on the people who are genuinely engaging with your work.
Yeah. And remember that everyone gets criticism. Even like the biggest celebrity.
Like Beyonce probably has haters too. She just doesn't let them stop her from slaying.
Right. She's too busy being Queen Bey to worry about what some random person on the internet thinks.
Exactly. And that's a good lesson for all of us. Like, don't let the haters dim your shine. Just keep doing what you love and the right people will find you.
Totally. And speaking of people who are doing what they love and doing it well, can we talk about Mickytolife again?
They're awesome.
I just love how they're able to talk about serious stuff, but still keep it light and funny.
Yeah, they're really good at that. Okay, but let's shift gears for a sec. Like, we've talked about how content creators can deal with negativity, but what about the fans?
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Like, how can we be better fans?
Right. Like, how can we support the people we admire without getting caught up in the negativity?
Okay, I'm all ears. Lay some wisdom on me.
Very well. First of all, remember that celebrities are human beings, too.
Oh, yeah.
I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes we forget that. Like, they have feelings, too.
Yeah, and just because we're fans of their work doesn't mean we own them.
Exactly. Fandom is about appreciation and support, not control.
Okay, what else?
Be mindful of your words online. Like, seriously, a comment can make or break someone's day.
So true. It's like that saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah, and even if you're trying to be constructive with your criticism, make sure it's coming from a place of respect.
Right, because there's a big difference between offering helpful feedback and just being mean.
Totally. Okay, and last but not least, remember that you don't have to engage with every single thing you see online.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's like sometimes it's best to just walk away from the drama.
Exactly. If something is stressing you out or triggering you, just log off and do something else.
It's like, don't feed the trolls. Just ignore them and move on with your life.
Exactly. Your mental health is more important than winning an online argument.
Truth. And honestly, sometimes the best way to support the people you love is to just spread positivity.
Like, share their work, leave a nice comment, tell your friends about them.
Totally. And remember that even small acts of kindness can make a big difference.
Yeah. So let's all try to be a little bit more mindful and a little bit more kind online.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah. We also need to be more critical of the information we consume online.
Yeah, like not everything you read on the internet is true.
Exactly. So do your research, check your sources, and don't believe everything you see.
Especially if it sounds too good to be true.
Right. There's a lot of misinformation and fake news out there. So it's important to be discerning.
Okay, so we've talked about calling out bad behavior, being critical of information, and spreading positivity. But what about the algorithms? Like, how can we fight against the algorithms that seem to reward negativity?
That's a tough one. Because the algorithms are designed to keep us engaged.
Yeah. And unfortunately, negativity often gets more engagement than positivity.
True. But we can still make a difference. Like by choosing to follow and support accounts that are promoting positive content.
So basically, we need to be more intentional about what we consume online.
Yeah. And we need to support the creators who are trying to make a difference.
Like Mickytolife.
Exactly. They're a great example of how to use your platform for good.
Okay, so let's recap. We've talked about calling out bad behavior, being critical of information, spreading positivity, and supporting positive creators. What else can we do to make the internet a better place?
Well, I think it's important to remember that we're all in this together.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, we're all part of this giant online community, and we have a responsibility to each other to make it a safe and welcoming space for everyone.
Totally. So let's all try to be a little bit more kind, a little bit more understanding, a little bit more supportive online.
Yeah, and let's all try to use our voices for good.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, but I still have one more question for you.
Okay, hit me.
Why do you think some people seem to enjoy being negative? Like, what's the appeal of being a hater?
That's a great question, and honestly, I don't have a simple answer for you.
Fair enough.
But I think it's important to remember that everyone is fighting their own battles.
Yeah, like we never know what's going on in someone else's life.
Exactly. So maybe instead of judging them, we should try to offer them a little bit of compassion.
Yeah, maybe they're just hurting and they don't know how to express it in a healthy way.
Right. So let's all try to be a little bit more understanding and a little bit more forgiving.
Okay, I love that. So basically, the key to a better internet is more kindness, more empathy, and more understanding.
I think you nailed it.
At something that would normally scare us, maybe it won't feel so threatening.
That's a great point. And it speaks to the power of humor to help us cope with fear, anxiety, and other difficult emotions.
It's interesting how humor can be a coping mechanism for dealing with those cringeworthy moments that we've all experienced at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
Like if we can laugh at it, maybe it won't seem so bad.
And it speaks to the power of humor to help us navigate those social landmines and to find the funny side of even the most embarrassing situations.
But the big question remains, where do you draw the line?
When does playful teasing turn into something harmful? When does harmless banter cross over into bullying or harassment?
And how can we navigate this complex landscape of online fandom and humor responsibly and ethically?
These are questions we all need to grapple with both individually and as a society.
I think one of the key takeaways for me today is the importance of being mindful, both of our own online behavior and the impact it can have on others. It's so easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, especially online, where it can feel like anything goes.
But it's crucial to remember that words have power, and even seemingly harmless jokes or comments can have real consequences.
So before you hit that post button, take a moment to pause and consider, is this kind? Is this necessary? Is this going to make the world a better place?
And if the answer is no, maybe it's best to just keep scrolling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Choose kindness. Choose empathy. Choose to be the change you want to see in the world. And hey, if you're ever feeling down or overwhelmed by all the negativity online, just remember, there's always Mickytolife to brighten your day. They're funny, insightful, and always keep it real. And on that note, we'll leave you with that food for thought.
Definitely lots to think about.
Until next time, keep diving deep, and remember, a little self-awareness and humor can go a long way online.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for listening, everyone.